We made it. It's Friday. I'm sure the audience is more excited than usual now that these games mean absolutely nothing. Did anybody else feel the earthquake?
No, not at all.
You guys didn't feel the earthquake?
No,
Rhode
not
Island
even
got
a little.
hit.
It
So
was in
I
New
guess
Jersey. I think from what I
it
saw.
was in Jersey and it trickled its way up the East Coast here. My house was shaking. Not bad. No machine is on.
So Jack gets an
But I knew-
earthquake on Wednesday, and Sam gets one today.
There was one on Wednesday?
Well, Jack got one in the form of Hurricane Duke.
Oh, yes. Jack, you were letting in the dog. I contend that the dog should be outside for a week.
This was the other dog. She didn't do anything wrong, so she should have to come inside. No, I can't. I can't punish her.
That way. Well, no, because then if you leave the other dog outside too, and you punish that dog for the other dog's crimes, maybe it'll feel a responsibility to keep the other dog in check.
But does the other dog even know what's happening?
When a team loses a
they're
team.
idiots. No, they're morons. They don't know anything. Both
Sam runs a tight ship.
A lot of them. Sam doesn't have dogs. Sam doesn't like dogs.
Yeah, I don't come home to the house torn apart. Instead, one of my cats holds my mom responsible for the other cat's death.
Yeah.
Hisses at my mom for no reason.
Does Sam hold the other cat responsible?
No. Morbidly, the cat died next to me. It was crazy.
Jesus.
Not what you guys thought you would get on Talking Seas today.
No, this is an unpredictable start.
Anyways,
pets.
Hello, everybody. Welcome in. Was pretty cool to feel the earthquake. That's certainly a take. That's fun. But Celtics, meanwhile, have clinched the 1 seed in the NBA, 60-win season for the first time since 2009. They have a chance to match the win total they had in 2008. There's obviously no guarantee they would have to win out from here, and I don't know how many guys they're going to play for every single game, because even last year, when they didn't clinch anything, they ended up sitting guys in the final game of the season, just let Pritchard cook. So we'll have to see how willing they are to play guys full minutes. I can't imagine they'll play full minutes every single night. We'll see how long they go on for, but they went into the game against the Thunder knowing that it would be their clinching game. Joe Mazzulla talked about it. Kristaps Porzingis talked about it, said we wanted something to play for in this one, so we treated it as the clincher. We wanted to simulate that effect, and it worked. So good for the Celtics, good for them. It's the first time they've had the best record in the NBA in a while now, and first 60-win season in 15 years. So good for Boston.
Yeah, we've talked about how the Celtics down the stretch here, they've mostly been coasting. And then after the game, Kristaps Porzingis credited Joe Mazzulla with getting them fired up with the chance to clinch home court throughout and 60 wins and the best record this regular season going into that matchup against the Thunder. So you can see that they might have been of the mindset of like, hey, especially against a Thunder squad that didn't have SGA or Jalen Williams, the better of the two, of course. And so they might have been looking at it and saying, let's just kind of pick our spots here and we can get this win, and still been somewhat on cruise control. But it sounds like Joe Mazzulla had an effect, because after easing into their game a little bit, they were pretty good for most of the first quarter, most of the second half. And then the third quarter is where it got really interesting for them, because they give up the fewest free throws, at least entering Wednesday, the fewest free throws per game in NBA history, 13.5. They gave up 15 free throws in the third frame alone on Wednesday. So to have to navigate that, plus what it does to, it made the pace slow and choppy, and it can take you out of rhythm. And then they were able to combat it. I thought that Peyton Pritchard provided a spark where he was applying pressure and just kind of flying around out there, making plays for them. And then they really cranked it up in the fourth quarter and just hit him with the death punch.
Listen, it was great to see them flip the switch, because that's something this season, especially in recent weeks with them losing back-to-back games to Atlanta. We've been like, do they have a switch? What are they doing? Are they screwing around too much? And you just saw them play against a starless OKC team, but an OKC team nonetheless that has had a good season, and completely just run them out as soon as they decided it was time for the game to be over. And credit to Jaylen Brown for flipping his switch in the fourth quarter too, because we were all like, is this guy okay? Is his hand bothering him that much? And then he was like, okay, I'm just going to score the first 10 points and everyone can shut up. So overall, the Celtics did a really great job as a team of just applying pressure and making things difficult on OKC and making them play to their style of play. And it just ended up being a domination of the fourth quarter. Big W.
Yeah, I mean they ballooned a lead out that was chopped down to 5 by the Thunder in the third quarter, then won by 35 points against. Again, they were missing their two best players, and Shea and Jalen Williams. And Jalen Brown admitted that after the game, but he said we just kind of wanted to treat it like the normal game, anyways. And they succeeded in doing so, and they got a blowout win against a team that's playoff bound, even regardless of missing their two stars. Like they have some good players on that team. Chet Holmgren shut down. Everyone on the roster really couldn't do much except for get to the free throw line clearly, which ended up being nullified by the Celtics anyways. So it's been a good year for the Celtics of finding mini battles, finding mini goals throughout the season and sticking to them. And that's exactly what they did against the Thunder. Speaking of JB, though, did talk after the game about his hand injury, was clearly bothering him for the first 3 quarters, at least until he decided to explode in the fourth quarter. Said after the game that he thinks he has a sprain or strain or something in his hand, but he doesn't think it'll be a problem, but admitted it was bothering him. Bobby, should they do as Birkin says and just kind of maybe shut him down a little bit here towards the end of the season?
I think you got to be cautious. I wouldn't have played him on Wednesday, so maybe I'm too far towards that end of the spectrum, but I wouldn't play him Friday night against the Kings either. And I understand him saying that it's good to gather information and experience playing with the hand injury, but I also think he's more trying to keep himself and especially the media and the fan base calm when he talks about, I'm not really worried about it or anything. It's officially to some extent. I'm not saying hit the panic button or anything, but it's not a non-issue. You could see it bothering him. He even acknowledged that after the game. So to some extent, this is a concern. And I definitely think that when you have the luxury of just resting that hand, not shut him down for the rest of the regular season, but be careful about, be selective about when you play him.
The decision to play Jalen on Wednesday was kind of weird because I'm kind of on the fence on whether this is actually an issue or not. Obviously, it was bothering him. You could clearly see he looked uncomfortable at times. But do we really think the Celtics are that stupid that they would put him out there if he was really, really like in pain? I don't know. I'm not sure I can believe that. It doesn't make any sense. Why would they do it? They basically have the entire league wrapped up, at least as regular season goes at that point. Why would you risk it? I know it's not a leg injury. It's not going to be something where he's repeatedly pounding the floor with his feet and his legs are feeling the shock like his left hand, like he's a right-handed player, blah, 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 blah. But there's no benefit of having him play through it. This isn't a he gets tougher thing. It's just, oh, yeah, he looks uncomfortable. I don't know. It seems weird. The team doesn't really want to acknowledge it. I don't love it, but I'm not a medical expert, so I have no clue.
I don't really know either. Like, obviously, we don't know as much as the team does or as Jalen does. If he's saying he doesn't think it'll be a problem and it just bothered him during the game, I have to imagine it's just something similar to the Drew Holiday, whatever it is, dead arm that he was dealing with for a while. Like, I feel like it's probably just something that is nagging him a little bit, but he can play through it. That maybe he'll have something small on during the summer. But if the team really wanted to shut him down for the game, I think they would have. I think a part of it was probably Jalen wanted to play and wanted to test it out. And if anything, sit him down for a couple games, let him get some rest, let him play in one of the last regular season games, see if he's feeling better. Then if he's not, sit him out for the last 2 and get him really prepped for the playoffs with a longer rest. I think it's okay. Birkin saying he said the word ligament. I get that too. But again, like, if it was a serious ligament problem, I can't imagine the team would have played him. Like, they're smarter than that. So I really do believe that this is just something that he can play through in general. And he just wanted to test it out the other day to see how it felt. And if it didn't feel good, maybe he won't play today. We'll have to see. But I don't know. I'm not overly worried about it. Are you, Bobby? Are you worried about it going to the playoffs, or do you just like, where do you rank on your scale of concern for JP?
It's not that I'm worried about it or panicked over it. It's that it's not a total non-issue that you can just brush to the side. It's that it was bothering him on Wednesday. Again, I think the smart, cautious move is not to play him Friday against the Kings, but it's unrealistic to think that they'll shut him down now for the rest of the regular season. And I'm not even saying he necessarily needs that. But again, when he talks about how it bothered him for a little bit and everyone can see that was the case and he's not shooting well for 3 quarters, not saying that's 100% as a result of the left hand. But again, I think to some extent, there's something going on here and that needs to be treated with caution. And then you've got to see what it looks like in the playoffs. Now, the other side of it, as we saw last year, he had the hand injury going into the postseason. And when he wanted to step up defensively and set the tone, especially against James Harden, he did so. So his impact at the other end and just the momentum, the adrenaline that kicks in when you're in these games, especially when you dial up the intensity of them and the stakes, that's going to carry Jalen through each and every playoff game. And so he can start by having the driving force of his impact be on defense. And then offensively, it's just what are you able to do? I don't think the hand injury will really make much of an impact into his production.
So I'll roll with the same take I had when the Drew injury thing came out. It's really good that the Celtics probably don't have to play meaningful basketball for another 3-4 weeks. Because granted, the first round could be far more difficult than anybody would have expected. But at the same time, if you're not playing a Embiid Philly team, Miami is a demon, but they still aren't this mega super team that you should be sweating over. If you have Jalen at 85%, you should be just fine with the cast of characters that you have. Having him out there, and if he's playing under control, it should be a positive regardless. The team is good enough where you can hide Jalen. You can use him on a more minimal basis to get across the finish line while he heals. So you don't like to hear any injury stuff. I know he had surgery on a hand a few years back. I don't know if it's the same one. But heading into the playoffs, this should be a minimal problem.
Yeah, I mean, he had wrist surgery in 2021 that ended the season. It was I'm trying to find which wrist it was. Left wrist. So it's the same hand. But it was wrist versus hand. It is different things. So I don't think it's the exact same injury, else they would call it the wrist. I don't know. I think he would have sat down on Wednesday if it was a serious injury, and the fact that he didn't makes me feel like they're fine. He is also 17 away from 10K, so maybe he wants to get that, then shut it down to the playoffs. So sure, go for it, Jalen.
Does he get a bonus? I don't see. I don't see what the
He just wants 10K.
He's gonna get it.
He also doesn't need to play Friday to get it.
No, not at all.
If he plays today, we should either be heated or relaxed. No in between. One extreme or the other. Why the hell is he playing? He's hurt. Rest him. Or, okay, he's all right.
Absolutely.
You'll have the availability in time for the pregame pod.
It depends on how he plays. Then we can react.
Well, we'll read and react from there. Speaking of JB, though, Al, after the game against the Thunder the other night, said that very unbiasedly, he added, Jaylen Brown should be first team all defense. I don't know. I know they did the straw poll for MVP. I don't know if ESPN did the straw poll for all defense or all NBA teams and stuff like that. But Bobby, should Jaylen Brown? One, should he make an all defensive team? And two, will he make an all defensive team?
He definitely won't make the first team, and that's move Merritt to the side. I've yet to see anyone who puts him on there, and there are other things, fair or foul, of just you look at the team, you look at Derek and Drew and their impact and the recognition they get. And the reality is that they're going to go with someone from another team because Jalen's not viewed as the best defender on the Celtics squad, which is interesting because he tends to take on the primary perimeter player, but that's not a recognition he has. A lot of people who vote for awards, believe it or not, they watch their team and maybe they watch the national TV game as well, but they're not really tuned into every squad, even the one atop the standings. And so I don't think Jalen makes first team all defense. Is he playing, first team caliber? I think it's fair to say yes. With that said, this might not be the year that he gets acknowledged. I could see him making the second team. I wouldn't be surprised at all if he doesn't. But if he does this 2 years in a row, then he might make the jump from left in the cold to making first team all defense next season. And most importantly, the primary goal for him is, of course, that championship. And what he's doing has a massive impact on this team. And when he's guarding the best perimeter player, now it makes it that much easier for Drew Holiday to fly around and wreak havoc, for Derek White to do his thing. And you've got Porzingis on the back line. So this defense, when they don't have to put two on the ball, and Jalen's a huge part of that, now it becomes that you can't put them at a numbers disadvantage. And how are you going to score on them?
So I have been kind of on the Jalen defensive team train, just because I've been so impressed with the individual growth he's shown this year, especially as an on-ball guy. Coming into the league, we've talked about this time and time again, but he was billed as like a Kawhi type where he can play offense and he's going to be a great defender too. And we've seen that slip in the last couple seasons, whether it was for focus or he's working on different parts of his game or he's expending more energy on the offensive end. Whereas this year, like you mentioned, Bobby, he's locked in. Like, he wants to win a title. This whole team, their goal is to win a title. So playing defense is part of that path for Jalen, and he has done the absolute best he could do. He's not perfect. He still falls asleep off the ball at times. I know we've discussed that too. But in terms of picking up the opposing team's best guy, he's done an impressive job. I love it. And it does make me feel good that, like, I could probably vote for all defensive teams. By that description you gave, like, I watch my team, and sometimes I'll watch other teams, but only my team.
I agree. I don't think he'll end up making it. I think he should have a shout. That said, I just looked up a couple like websites predicting it. One was just PSF, Pro Sports Fans, but the other one was The Athletic. None of the ones that I saw have more than one Celtic on an offensive team. Some of them have Derek White. One has Drew Holiday instead of Derek White, but none have both, and none have Jaylen Brown. So
not having people Derek at large, crazy.
Yeah, the people at large don't, and not having Drew Holiday would be crazy. I think both need to be all defensive team. Both have been instrumental to the Celtics defense this year, which is a top 3 defense in the league. Both have been amazing. I'll read you. So the Athletic had Will Guillory, Kelly Iko, and Josh Robbins give their all NBA and all defense selections. One of them doesn't have Tatum first team, which I think is crazy. But they have Anthony Edwards instead, which I guess, but come on. All defensive teams, they have, I'll share a screen so you guys can read while I talk, but these are who they have for their all defensive teams. Oh, I just realized Bobby's not on the screen. Is Bobby on the screen? Here you go, Bobby. Welcome in. They have first team, Rudy Gobert, Lou Dort, Bam Adebayo, Victor Wembanyama, Jalen Suggs. Second team, Drew Holiday, Jaden McDaniels, Jared Allen, Herb Jones, Anthony Davis. I get it because it's positionless now, so you don't have to have guards. Derek White not being on these teams is absolutely obscene and shouldn't be.
Yeah, can we do the Lou Dort convo from the press box right now?
Oh, yeah. Frank Vogel apparently during a practice said out loud something to the effect of the NBA needs to look into all the flopping Lou Dort does. Just said it, name dropped him, said, get him out of here. And then 2 minutes later, the NBA, he got, or let me see.
Rescinded.
Yeah, Lou Dort flopped during a game, got called for it. Then the NBA rescinded it, said, no, he didn't flop. So kind of took Lou Dort's side. But Lou Dort on this team for, I believe this is Josh Robbins' team. Next one from Will Guillory is Rudy Gobert, Wembanyama, Adebayo, Herb Jones, Anthony Davis. I wonder what position this guy values. Second team, Jalen Suggs, Lou Dort, Derek White, Alex Caruso, Jaden McDaniels. I wonder what position this guy values less. What the fuck are we doing? Kelly Iko, Rudy Gobert, Wembanyama, Herb Jones, Jaden McDaniels, Bam Adebayo, Derek White, Kawhi Leonard, Jalen Suggs, Alex Caruso, Anthony Davis. Now, it's tough to like look at these because if you want to say, okay, Derek White, Andrew Holiday need to be on, you have to take somebody off. Like, it is tough because all these guys are amazing defenders, but like, you can't take Wemby off because that's the first option because, his defense, or excuse me, his team's defense was so bad. You have to watch 2 Wemby games to understand the impact he makes defensively. So it's hard to take him off. It's hard to take him off the all defensive team. But at the same time, like Anthony Davis's team's defense hasn't been great either. Like, why did the Thunder get 2 over the Celtics getting 2? I get because they have a slightly better defense than the Celtics, but like Drew Holiday's impacted. It's tough. The point is, I think Celtics should have Drew Holiday and Derek White at the very least on both teams. And it's going to be hard to knock one of those guys off, but I'm not sure that I agree with some of those selections, but
Yeah,
that's my biased opinion.
I don't think Lou Dort belongs on the first team. And I mean, Jalen Suggs, I love. He's been phenomenal defensively and has kind of reinvented his career. And I think it's led to him shooting the ball better from beyond the arc this season, too. So Jalen Suggs on the first team, I have no gripes with. But Derek White, the numbers are undeniable. And in some cases, especially when you look at the blocks, historic. And so to me, I don't know how you look at what Derek White is doing. And, again, even if you're not watching him, take a second to look through the stats and the metrics, and they clearly make an airtight argument for Derek White being on first team all defense. Drew Holiday, if you're actually watching the games, seeing him quarterback this defense and be the head of the snake, so to speak, and then just fly around and wreak havoc. And his assignments go from Embiid and Randall to a point guard. I mean, he definitely deserves at a minimum to be on the second team. So I understand it. There's a long list of quality candidates. There should be a third all defensive team now, but I think that Drew Holiday, he belongs on at least the second team, and Derek White should be a slam dunk for the first team.
Yeah, just like the crazy block numbers, like you mentioned, that Derek White is putting up, those being historic should be enough to get him on there. Not to mention that he's actually like a good defender too, that isn't blocking shots because he's out of position. He's kind of baiting guys into going up so he can block the shots. And Holiday has been just so versatile for this team. Overall, he's been impressive too. Like, I mean, I just love the way he fits into the offense and doesn't need all the attention, and he can have the ball and everything. But on defense, he is a key piece of it as well, Bobby. You mentioned quarterbacking the defense, taking on different kinds of players, being able to kind of guard 1 through 5 is something that won Smart the Defensive Player of the Year a couple years ago. Well, Holiday is doing that now, and he should be on one of the all-defensive teams as well. It's strange because you think about all the great defenders in the NBA and you realize a lot of the top teams have 1 or 2 elite defenders that should get a shout. And then you have guys sprinkled throughout the teams like Wemby. I mean, it's tough to pick. It is tough. But yeah, I think the Celtic backcourt deserves to be a part of the defensive teams for sure. It's clear why Jalen is not a lock, or probably won't be on.
Jalen's the tough one. So I was laughing because I just read why Josh Robbins left Derek White off his team. And he knocked Derek White because the Celtics starting lineup is all plus defenders, so that makes his life easier, which is just the most ridiculous statement.
Watch the game, respectfully. Watch what Derek White does.
He said, almost all my choices remain in flux. Among the laundry list of players I need to review over these next 2 weeks is Derek White, not just relative to the rest of the league, but even against his teammate Drew Holiday. This is one of the many instances where the opinions of coaches, players, and front office personnel are critically important. Evaluating the Celtics players is a fascinating exercise. Boston ranked 3rd in defensive rating through Sunday, and should be reflected in all defensive voting, but it should also be noted that every person in Boston's first starting 5 is a plus defender, and those individual guys' smarts, size, and toughness compound the team's effectiveness as a whole. Okay, sure. So we're gonna
too hard.
Yeah, we're gonna elevate players, good defensive players on bad teams because their teammates suck at defense, so they look. Wouldn't that work the other way too? So they look even better at defense because their teammates are so bad at defense. So there's more to make up. Like, I get what you're doing, but like Derek White's the most, and he left them off both teams, by the way. This isn't just off first team. Like he left them off both of his defensive teams. I think it's crazy.
He's forcing the issue. And, similar to the point you're just making there, Jack, that even if the argument is, oh, look, he's got Porzingis on the back line, so it's easier to play up and apply pressure. Derek White, as Sam said, does not get beat often. And then when he does, he's elite at recovering to block from behind. So if you just watch the impact, it is clear that while his teammates are also very good defenders, this guy is playing at a first team all defense level. And then you look at the numbers to pair with the eye test, and they make a more compelling case than a Lou Dort, for example.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's funny that somehow defense in defense, I don't know why I said 2 different ways, is the only award category that people are like, actually, if your team sucks, you're better. Like MVP, I mean, I won't even give Luka a shout because I don't think his team's good enough. I just don't. But like, they're like, oh yeah, if you have to make up for your crappy teammates, then you're all defense. I don't know. This is why I hate this stuff because you can just scream at walls and it does nothing. But I mean, whatever. Yeah. Everybody has an opinion.
Yes, they do. Some people just get paid to share it. Anyways, and this isn't trying to crap on Josh Robbins. You can think whatever you think. I just disagree.
You did take your time to call him out.
Well, I just thought the argument was crazy. The last thing before we get to trivia, Miriam Fader of The Ringer wrote an article on Drew Holiday that was awesome. She spoke about, or I should say, he spoke about his journey from getting traded, reflecting on his wife's tumor and how they went through that situation, his time in Boston so far, his goals in Boston. It was a great read. Bobby, what were some of your biggest takeaways from the article?
I mean, I think that she might be the best. At a minimum, she's exceptional at humanizing these athletes and telling their stories and bringing you, we get a small window into them, and then she kind of gives you a much bigger picture into who they are, what they're dealing with off the court. And so it's just a spectacular piece that I can't recommend highly enough to go and check out. And when it comes to Drew, it's, some of the things that people responded to when he talked about being upset with the handling from the Bucks part of him getting traded, some of the things that people talked about, not that he needed to say it explicitly for most of us to understand, but yeah, he gets it too. It's a business. He's been traded on no notice before in the past. He understands that, but the Bucks could have handled this better and been more communicative with Drew Holiday. They weren't. He finds out after waking up from a nap that he's got to figure out what this means. And do I have to show up in Portland and what's next and everything? And then he gets lucky that the Blazers, who are embracing a rebuild, that they are transparent with him and say, okay, we need to do what's right for our franchise, but we will work with you to send you where you want to go. And ultimately the Celtics step up and they can broker a deal. But it's a great piece. I don't want to step on it. Go and check it out. But it just talks about everything that Drew Holiday's had to deal with, including, by the way, you come to Boston and they're lucky they got someone. This is a guy that Brad Stevens has loved for a long time, in part because of this, who comes in immediately and says, whatever you need from me, it's cool. I'll sacrifice. I'll take a step back. I'll bust my hump defensively and then have the lowest usage rate of my career at the other end. It's cool because I just want to win a chip. And if we got to go through the Bucks, I'll just relish that even more because it's just about a title, and going through them, it makes it a little bit sweeter.
Yeah, that's my favorite anecdote from the whole article is him showing up and being like, "Hey guys, just tell me what to do. I'm cool with it. You don't need to give me the ball or anything." I also really thought it was interesting how she describes Brad Stevens in his mindset when it comes to building teams, and you see, his background as a college coach, he has to think about fit. There's so many talented players that are around the same skill level in college, D1, that you have to pick the right ones for you that can play together. And I think during his time as the general manager of the Celtics, Brad Stevens has done a great job of that. That's why these teams have overachieved. That 2022 team, he ended up making some tweaks to, but it was far better than anybody thought it was going to be heading into the season. Last year, he tried to bring in some talent, and they were still very good. They just came up short. And this year, he tweaked again, and this is probably the best team we've seen in years. I mean, undoubtedly. The chemistry, the cohesion within this group is unmatched. They get along. They're willing to sacrifice for each other. There's no kind of competition within the team. It's good vibes, good production, good basketball overall. And Holiday has been a tremendous part of that, from the defense to the sacrifice to just his leadership. He's a fantastic Celtic.
Yeah, just the way that Miriam Fader tells stories is like incredible. The way she's able to detail like Drew Holiday's path from what he was going through on the Pelicans to getting traded by two different teams, to the way he's handled stuff, to the way that like his wife handled things, Lauren Holiday, like while she was on like Team USA soccer, like just the way she's able to convey these stories of what these people are going through is incredible. So if you haven't read the article, go read it. It's on The Ringer. It's titled Drew Holiday's Season of Change. Drew Holiday talks about a bunch of great things, not only about his time with the Celtics, but his career in general. Like Sam said, or Bobby said, I forget which one of you said it, but like coming in just said, I'm here to help. put me wherever.
Mm.
I'll do whatever. Just from that to the way he's sort of taken on this defensive role. She wrote about how like his first game of the season, he was just locking up everybody on the Knicks, doing whatever he could there. Like it's just a great storytelling piece, and she's been doing it forever. Like the Greg Oden piece she wrote last year, I think won an award this year. Like she rocks. And so when she writes anything, you should read it. When she writes about your team, you definitely need to read it. So anybody who's a Celtics fan should absolutely go read that because it rocks. Anything else that we didn't get to, Bobby?
I think it's time for trivia.
Alrighty, Michael, you came in at the right time. He's insert the rock meme here. He's ready to rock. I am looking at one quick thing because I have a question. I have a question locked and loaded, but I think I don't know if the one I'm thinking of is better than the one I have. So filibuster for a second here while I double check this.
Oh, then I'll leave the chat on for a second.
Yeah, I'll look to the chat here. You go ahead, Bobby.
Well, it's just you mentioned this on the last show, Sam. It's disappointing that you would love for these next few games to be lengthy run for Jaden Springer. And then I'm just putting in a vacuum. You'd love for it to be Jordan Walsh, for example, and Kada, but they've got the G League playoffs going on and the former is injured right now. And so it kind of deprives us of that opportunity to watch the extended rotation and guys on two-way contracts come up and have a chance to show out.
I know, that sucks, man. I just like the idea of seeing those guys get to play real NBA minutes against quality competition. The thing about that is I do feel like it is valuable for them to get G League run in the playoff game too. RJ giving them props in the chat. It's cool that they won. Did you see Nimi hit the skyhook?
Nimi was a force yesterday. He dominated, and then they just kept breaking the press or getting open in half court and getting it to him at the rim for buckets. And it was just impossible for Delaware to cut into that lead.
All right.
I'm ready.
I'm ready to go. Okay. Everyone is ready. Everyone turn the chat off.
Chat off.
So you guys are playing golf today. We're not going for the highest number. You're going for the lowest number. Question of the day. Since the 2010 season, so I have in stat head 09, 010, since then, from then to now, which Celtic has taken the fewest shots to get a 20-point game? At least a 20-point game. So I need the fewest shots. So again, you're playing golf. Whoever's the lowest number wins. Sam did win, so he'll be going again. So
my win streak.
Since 2009-2010 season, who has taken the few in honor of the Masters? Exactly. Is the Masters this weekend?
I don't know.
No.
I don't watch
April
TV
11th.
on like cable.
Next weekend. Okay. That's sick.
Yes, because it starts like technically the week of, but right after March Madness wraps up.
That rocks. I love that. Okay. Fewest number of shots taken by Celtic to score at least 20 points since the 2009-2010 season, so including that year and this year as well, or up to this year. Sam, just like kick it off.
I'm gonna go with Sam Hauser.
That's a good guess.
All righty. Mr. Sam Hauser gets you 9.
Good answer.
Bobby?
I'm going to go Ray Allen.
Ray Allen gets you 7.
Wow. What a guess that is.
Slugfest.
He went 7 for 7 or something. That's crazy.
He went
wow.
5 for 7. All twos, 11 free throws.
That's a
wow. What a pull from Bobby. That's a crazy guess.
Yeah.
I like both our guesses.
I'm gonna go. Pritchard.
I was literally gonna guess him. The Hawks game.
Alrighty. Get you 10.
Not awful.
Yeah, the perks of going first. We might need to filibuster.
Oh my God! Already?
I had that locked and loaded.
That Ray Allen number is crazy. I felt sharp saying Hauser, and I wasn't sharp. I wasn't that sharp.
All right, this is a gamble right here. We're going Brett Favre. Eddie House.
I thought you when I heard we're going Brett Favre, I was like, wait. What?
Is he all right? Does he know what sport we're playing?
Oh, you thought that was the guess.
13.
Okay, we're back.
We'll see if that ages gracefully.
this is tough. I'm going to guess Rob.
It's a good one.
It's probably not that great of a guess, but
Well, it's going to be all twos. That's the problem. But...
yeah.
9.
Oh, yes.
Rob was
That
going to
might
be
be
my
a
first guess,
knockout.
and then I was like, well, hasn't Hauser had just some crazy shooting games this year where he doesn't take any shots?
Rob was 9 of 9 from the field, 2 of 3 from 3, or from the free throw line, I should say. Sam Hauser, by the way, I'll give some details on the games that these guys have picked so far while they are guessing. That'll be my filibuster. Sam Hauser was, in fact, this year against Chicago, 8 of 9 from the field, 7 of which were threes. So that was his 20-point game.
That was like literally 2 weeks ago.
Pritchard was not this year, it was a couple years ago. It was against Toronto in 2021. 6 of 10, 6 of 8 from 3, and 2 free throws as well.
Man, loves
Meanwhile,
in Toronto.
Eddie House was also against Chicago. He was 9 of 13 from the field, 4 of 7 from 3.
I am going to go. I might regret putting this name ahead of the other name I have in consideration here, but why not? I am going to go Jared Sullinger.
Alrighty.
I already regret it. But we all know that he had that big night. We know.
13.
Yes, I'll take a 13 at this stage.
Yeah, it is. It is. We are in the torture chamber now. I had one. I lost it. I'm pissed. Sorry. I can say that, right? Yeah. Okay.
Jared Sullinger, by the way, he's had a lot of games where he had 13 shots.
I was just thinking about
2,
that
3,
Raptors
4,
game.
Wasn't even one of them. Against the Knicks, he was 9 of 13, 8 of 13, 9 of 13, 10 of 13. A little bit of free throws mixed in there, a couple threes. That's how we got there.
That boy Sully. I saw him once at Faneuil Hall, by the way.
Really?
Yeah, just happened to bump into him.
What a guy. Did you say hi? Did you say something?
Yeah. Just kind of said, "What's up?"
That's sick.
I was a schoolboy at the time.
I'm gonna guess. I might hate myself for this. Derek White.
Never a bad guess.
11.
Not terrible.
Never
Not
a
terrible.
bad guess. Because I don't know how many he missed to. So hold on here. Also, it's just the final box score, right? So it doesn't matter if you started like 7 for 7, if you then finished like 9 for 15.
It is how many shots you ended within the box score. For what it's worth, Derek White was recently, it was actually in the Celtics overtime loss to the Hawks. He was 8 of 11, 3 of 5 from 3, and 5 of 6 from 5 of 6 from 3, and 1 of 1 from the free throw line. 11 shots, 22 points.
This is a great question, Jack. Thank you.
Thank you.
Right. I don't love any of the names I have under consideration.
We're not allowed. Can I talk to chat? Because if I talk to chat, I don't want you guys to be able to use chat as for one of your answers. Are either of you planning on using the chat for anything today?
No, but it probably would be a good move on my part. But no, you're good, Jack.
Okay. Michael, don't crap on Justin too quick. His answers are actually pretty good. Justin, your answers are W. Good answers, Justin.
Good answer.
Mm-hmm. Good answer is correct. Michael goes, okay, my bad. RJ, that's not a bad guess either. I think he's up there. Actually, Yeah, it's not bad.
All right, I'm taking one guess off the table because I think that he started off on fire, but he cooled down. I think Sam knows who it is.
I don't know, but I just get a kick out of it. I like that you have to talk through it. Chad's going crazy for this. I have 47 unreads.
Yeah, so do I. Chad might just be on it.
I
Yeah,
am
like clowning us.
While Bobby guesses,
I deserve this. I'm putting up a poor showing. I'll take a chance, given his marksmanship. Drew Holiday.
That was one of my guesses. That's a good guess.
I hope.
I think it is.
11.
Yeah.
Needed that.
I was between him and Derek White.
The stock exchange.
While Sam guesses, we can look at me being famous again. So O'Shea Brissett just posts stuff to Instagram all the time, and sometimes I'm standing right behind him.
That a boy?
I love that.
What if you were in every picture?
Tweet it and tag him and be like, hey.
Yeah, you're right. I should.
I got a couple. I'm sitting on here. I have two, and I'm kind of stuck between them. I don't know. Oh, man. This feels like Steve's all over again. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna stick to my gut. I'm gonna say Luke
Cornette.
I like that guess.
Cornette. 11.
Okay, not
yeah.
bad.
Is that from the Raptors game this season?
Yes, 11 shots in that game. Yeah. Unfortunately, Bobby.
That does, no.
That does put you out.
Yes.
Of the realm of winning. I will say, you guys overthought this a lot. You guys really overthought this question. Yes.
Can I throw out another guess that I had?
Yeah.
Al Horford.
Yeah, I was considering him.
Yeah, or Al Horford's 9.
Wow.
But like, not that it matters, but
Jaylen Brown would have got you 8. Jason Tatum would have got you 9. Isaiah Thomas would have got you 9. Marcus Smart would have got you 9. Paul Pierce would have got you 9. Or Paul Pierce would have got you 8.
Considered all of them. You just get concerned with the guys who have a higher shooting volume.
I guess because they played as rookies.
Yeah, you also have to take into account, like, those guys take a lot of free throws. Like, they take a lot of free throws. So
that's true.
That's gonna play a part of it. Like, Ray Allen was the best at 7. There was nobody else with 7, but other guys at 8. Marcus Morris at 8. Paul Pierce, Jay Crowder, Rajon Rondo, Jaylen Brown. 9.
Rondo.
There was a ton of people at 9. Smart, Rob, Al, Ray Allen, Thomas, Tatum, Brown, Gordon Hayward, Malcolm Brogdon, Horford, Tyler Zeller, Sam Hauser, Paul Pierce, Ray Allen, all 9. Lots at 10. Like over 25 people at 10. So
I can't believe how much Tyler Zeller has popped up on these trivia questions.
Mm-hmm.
He was good for that one like half a season.
Yeah.
He led the team in win shares a season.
He did his thing.
He had a game winner.
Yes, he did. All right, we can wrap it there. That's 2-0 series lead for Sam. Bobby has some catching up to do on the next one. I'll share this with you guys. You're going to see who was up there for these games, but the really small text. I will go like that for you.
So I considered that Jeff Green performance against Miami, but then he cooled off, and I couldn't go with it. But by the time, if you capped it at like once they reached 20, he probably had only missed maybe once, maybe not at all at that juncture.
What a game. I can't believe that they lost that game.
They could have ended that win streak.
It was, I'll never forget that day.
It's tough. All right. Time for us to go, chat. We appreciate y'all for tuning in. Justin was on it. Got to guess Pierce, Tatum, and Brown. And then Michael said, nah, they be chucking. But they were actually pretty good guesses. So
Bobby is also in that picture with O'Shea. Just half.
Yeah, he snuck in the corner. He's right on the left. Just half of him.
Got me out.
Appreciate y'all for tuning in. Make sure to check out Bobby's work at si.com/NBA/Celtics. Leave a like on the stream. make sure to subscribe to How About Them Celtics, and I will let Sam wrap it up.
Hey, thank you very much for listening and watching. If you're with us live, we do appreciate you very much. It's a ton of fun to do these, so definitely come out Monday, Wednesday, and Friday mornings. We're here for you doing Talking C's. Again, big thanks to Bobby for hanging out with us all the time. You can follow him on Twitter at Bobby Kravitsky. You can find him putting words, I guess, on your screen. I was going to say on paper for Inside the Celtics,
Digital
part of
paper.
SI Media. What do you say?
Digital paper.
Digital paper. Saving the planet. Good guy, Bobby.
What's the Michael Scott line? Like paper for a paperless world?
You can subscribe to our YouTube channel. Aside from Talking C's, we have full pods coming at you Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. Game recaps the morning after. We're live before every single game, a half hour before. And Tuesdays, Celtics Roundtable around 6 p.m. We'll be here. You can find us on socials at How About Them C's, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. The Facebook is just the name of the pod. Our streams are there, as well as YouTube. And they're on Twitter. Jack's Stories at JackSmonNBA. Mine is at Sam LaFrance NBA. Go read the Celtics blog post I did today. That's it for us. Bye.
Tic-tac-toe. Come on.